Lena stood on the edge of Earth's new spaceport, her heart beating fast as she stared at the giant silver ship. It was the largest one she had ever seen, shaped like a wide leaf floating in the sky. Bright lights shone under its wings. A crowd of people watched from behind the glass windows, waving their hands, some cheering, others quiet. She didn't wave back. Her hand stayed at her side, holding tight to the long white robe the council had given her. She had been chosen for a reason. Out of all the young people trained to represent Earth, the council picked her. Not because she was the smartest or the strongest, but because she was calm, thoughtful, and brave in moments when others panicked. Earth needed that now. This would be Earth's first true step into the Galactic Council, a place where hundreds of alien worlds came together to talk, share knowledge, and solve conflicts. For a long time, humans had watched from the outside. Now, for the first time, one of them would stand inside that circle. And that one was Lena Dot as she stepped onto the ship. She whispered to herself, "You are ready." She didn't fully believe it, but saying the words made her feet move. Inside, the ship was smooth and silent. Walls curved like soft hills. Lights changed gently, adjusting to her movement. She was guided by a quiet machine voice that led her to a room with no corners and one large seat shaped like a flower. She sat down, heart still thumping, and waited. After a few minutes, a screen lit up in front of her. A pale blue face appeared. The being had wide eyes, a narrow nose, and soft lines on his forehead that seemed to glow a little. He spoke gently. "Welcome, human. I am Raylan. I will guide you to Veltrax, home of the Council. I speak for the Tribunal Protocol." Lena leaned forward. "Thank you. I am ready to learn." Raylan nodded. Then he said something that made her stomach twist. "As your guide, it is my duty to inform you of Veltraxian law. When you enter the Great Hall, you must present yourself in complete openness. No tools, no cloth, no cover. This is how all who come must prove peace and honesty." Lena blinked. "You mean I must stand with nothing on? It is our way." Raylan said, "It has been for over 1,000 turns. It is not meant to shame, but to show there is no hiding." Lena sat still for a long moment. Her mind raced. She had prepared for many things: strange food, new gravity, alien languages. But not this. That law. "It's not our way," she said slowly. "Humans don't do that in public." "I understand," Raylan replied. "You are not forced. You may choose. But if you do not follow the law, your voice may not be accepted in the council." Lena stood up and walked in a small circle. She felt heat rise in her face, not from fear of her body being seen, but from the thought of standing helpless in front of powerful strangers, judged not for her words but for her skin. She turned to the screen again. "How many have refused before?" Raylan looked down for a moment. "Very few, and none from your kind. You will be the first human." Lena sat down again. She felt a strange mix of anger and sadness. Why should peace be proven like this? Why was honor linked to what someone wore or did not wear? But behind her thoughts, she also felt something else, the weight of Earth, the dreams of millions. She had been trusted with more than her own name. She had been trusted with the face of her people. The screen turned off. A gentle chime rang in the room. A soft voice said, "We arrive at Veltrax in 12 hours. Rest is advised." Lena lay down, though her thoughts did not let her sleep. In the quiet, she remembered her grandmother's words. "Dignity is not in what you wear. It is in how you carry your soul." Maybe that was the answer. When she woke, the ship had stopped. The floor hummed softly. The wall opened into a hallway filled with golden light. Raylan waited at the end of it, in person. He was taller than she thought. His skin shimmered faintly, and his eyes were like pools of water reflecting a calm sky. He held a folded robe in his long hands. "This is the ceremonial cloth. You may wear it to the gate. After that, the council will expect the law to be followed." Lena took the robe. She looked at Raylan's face. Unlike the others in her training, his eyes held no pressure, no coldness, only curiosity and quiet respect. "I don't know what I'll do yet," she said. "You will decide," he replied. "And that will be enough." She nodded slowly. Why are you helping me? He looked at her with the same gentle gaze. Because I want to understand your kind. And I believe respect is the first step to peace. She didn't answer right away, but something in her chest loosened. Together, they walked toward the council gate. One step at a time. Lena still didn't know what choice she would make inside the chamber. But now, she knew this: she would not face it alone. ***. Lena followed Raylan through the shining halls of Veltrax's main station. The floors glowed with soft blue light, and the walls curved like waves in the ocean. Strange shapes floated above their heads, like creatures, harmless and bright, used for guiding travelers. Many beings passed them. Some were tall with thin necks and glowing eyes. Others moved on 6 legs and spoke through blinking lights. A few stopped and looked at Lena with interest. She kept walking, holding the ceremonial robe close around her. They reached a large doorway. The doors were tall and silver, covered with symbols from many alien worlds. Raylan turned to her and placed his hand gently on a glowing panel. The door opened into a calm room with soft seats and a round table. A window showed the stars outside, along with parts of the planet below. "This is your private chamber," Raylan said. "You may rest, prepare, or ask questions here. You will stay until the council calls for you tomorrow." Lena stepped inside. It felt safe and quiet. The floor was soft under her feet. She turned to face Raylan again. He waited at the door, not leaving yet. "May I ask something?" she said. "Yes," Raylan replied. "Why is that law still used? The one about standing without clothes before the council. Didn't anyone ever question it?" Raylan's head tilted slightly, as if thinking deeply. "Many asked, few changed it. For the Veltraxian mind, the body is not a private thing. Hiding the body means hiding truth. For centuries, we believed this law helped keep the council honest." Lena looked out the window. "But for humans, dignity is not shown that way. It feels like being forced to lose something important." "I do not know your ways fully," Raylan said, "but I can see this troubles you. That is why I spoke to you yesterday. Not as a guide, but as a person who wishes to understand." She turned back to him. "Most people would not care. They would only say follow the law or leave. You didn't." Raylan gave a small smile. "Sometimes change begins with listening." He stepped away then. Before he left, he said one last thing. "If you choose not to follow the law, I cannot change the council's decision, but I will not turn away from you." Lena sat down after he left. Her thoughts were full. She thought about Earth, about the long training she went through, the lessons in alien law, diplomacy, and calm speech. But no lesson had prepared her for this moment. She walked over to the table. On it, she found a bowl of fresh fruit. Not Earth fruit, these were smooth, glowing, and shaped like small stars. She picked one up and took a bite. It tasted sweet and cool, a little like honey, a little like rain. Later, a small screen on the wall lit up. It showed a message: "Press to speak with guide." She hesitated, then touched it. Raylan's calm face appeared again. "Is something wrong?" he asked. "No. I'm still thinking," Lena said. "And I don't want to think alone." Raylan nodded. "Would you like me to come in person?" She paused. "Yes, if that's allowed." Minutes later, the door opened and Raylan stepped inside. He carried a flat box. Inside were soft clothes made of light fabric robes worn by other visiting beings. Not Earth style, but not completely strange either. "These are for comfort. You may wear them while you rest," he said. Lena placed the box on the table. Then she looked at him closely. "You said your people believe the body must be open to prove truth. But what do you believe?" Raylan sat across from her. His voice stayed calm. "I believe truth comes from the heart, not from the body. But my voice is small in the council. Many still follow the old ways. Would you change the law if you could?" "Yes," he said simply, "because I see that it causes pain. If a law causes pain without reason, it should be questioned." Lena leaned back. "Then maybe my presence here is not just for Earth. Maybe it's also to remind others that truth can look different." They sat in silence for a few minutes. Outside the window, stars moved slowly. The planet below turned in soft light. Lena stood and walked to the center of the room. I want to find a way that respects both sides. I want to show I'm not hiding but also keep my dignity. That is a hard path, Raylan said. But perhaps it is the right one. She looked over her shoulder. Will you help me decide? He rose from his seat. Yes, I will be here when you need me. Before leaving again, Raylan paused at the door. You may feel alone in that chamber tomorrow, but know this: there are eyes that will not judge you, only see you as brave. Lena nodded. Thank you. That night, Lena could not sleep easily. Her thoughts kept circling. But one thing stayed in her heart: the image of Raylan's calm eyes. Not cold, not demanding. Just open, honest, kind. Maybe it was not just the law she would stand against tomorrow. Maybe it was the way old ways had forgotten how to feel. And maybe, just maybe, a gentle gaze could begin something new. Morning on Veltrax came without sunlight. The sky above the city was always soft silver, glowing gently from the light towers built by ancient engineers. In Lina's chamber, the lights turned golden to show it was time. She stood in front of the mirror, holding the ceremonial robe. Her hands were steady, but her thoughts were full. She had not fully slept. Dreams had come and gone. Some were peaceful. Others were heavy with questions. This day would be remembered, for better or worse. The robe was white, smooth, and light as air. It covered her, but barely underneath. She wore a simple earth-made layer, thin, clean, and without design. It was not armor. It was not hidden tech, just a quiet symbol of dignity. She looked at herself and whispered, This is who I am. I come in peace, but I did not come empty. The door opened. Raylan stepped in. His own robe was long and deep green, with a golden belt tied across his chest. He carried no weapon, no device. He looked at Lena and gave a small, respectful nod. You're ready. She nodded back. Yes, but I do not know if they are. They walked together through the main corridor. The path was quiet. Guards stood along the walls, but none spoke. The floor beneath their feet gave a soft hum with every step. As they reached the hall of the tribunal, Lena paused. The great doors ahead were shaped like twin wings, with carvings of every known species on them. In the center, the symbol of peace, a hand with 5 stars above it. Lena turned to Raylan. What will they do if I do not follow the full law? They will first pause the hearing, he said. Then they will vote. Some will ask for your removal. Others may ask to listen. The decision may not be fast. She looked down. Then I must make the wait worth it. Raylan placed a hand over his chest. Whatever choice you make, I will remain beside you, even if others turn away. Lena gave a short breath. You keep saying that. I mean it each time, Raylan replied. The doors opened. Inside, the great hall was shaped like a wide circle, with rows of rising seats, each one filled with delegates of many species. Some had scales, some had wings, others had soft fur or shining skin. But all of them had one thing in common: they watched. In the center stood a clear platform, slightly raised. It had no cover, no shield. A voice echoed through the hall. Visitor from Earth. Approach. Lena stepped forward. Her feet touched the platform. She looked around, but did not let her eyes stop on any one face. She stood tall, her heart beating like a drum. The elder of the council rose. He had skin like stone and eyes like glass. His voice was deep and calm. Do you present yourself in full, with no shadow and no shield, as law demands? Lena took a breath. She untied the outer robe and let it fall. Gasps spread across the hall. She still stood clothed, but only in the soft earth layer, thin and plain. It did not hide her form, but it was not the full removal the law expected. She raised her head and spoke clearly. I come from Earth. I come in peace. I bring no weapon, no shield, no harm. But I also bring my dignity. We do not show truth by losing what makes us whole. We show truth by standing with open hearts. Whispers rose around the room. Some delegates spoke in their own tongues. Others simply stared. Lena did not step back. I know your law. I do not break it to cause offense. I stand here not to change your world, but to speak as myself. I am open. I am honest. And I am not afraid. The elder said nothing at first. Then he turned to the other council members. The human has spoken, but she has not followed the law. What is the will of this house? The lights dimmed. A soft blue mist filled the air. One by one, lights appeared above each delegate's head. For refusal, green for acceptance, yellow for delay. Many lights turned yellow, some turned red. But then one by one green lights began to appear. Lena waited in silence. After a few minutes, the lights faded. The elder spoke. The council is not united. The vote is held for later. The hearing is delayed. The platform dimmed out, but as Lena turned to leave, a second voice rose from the seats. It was not loud but clear. I speak as witness, said Raylan, stepping into view. I have guided this human. I have seen her honesty. I have watched her face the law with more honor than many who followed it. Guests rose again. I asked the council to consider not just the rule but the meaning behind it. The elder frowned. You speak out of turn. I speak for change, Raylan replied. Lena looked back at him. Their eyes met. No words were needed. She stepped down from the platform and walked with Raylan to the hall's edge, the crowd behind. Then remained silent. Outside, the doors closed behind them. Lena stopped and looked up. Do you think I did the right thing? Raylan answered, you stood for something true. That is more powerful than following a rule without question. They walked back in silence. Tomorrow. The council would meet again. Tomorrow. Her fate and Earth's place in the galaxy would be decided. But today, Lena had spoken with her whole heart, and that could not be undone. Lena sat in her chamber, her hands resting on her knees. The walls around her were quiet. Outside the window, the soft silver sky of Veltrax showed no sign of time passing. But Lena knew every second mattered. She had spoken her truth in the great hall. She had stood with strength. She had refused to remove the last layer that kept her human dignity intact. She didn't break their law in anger. She simply showed that respect could look different. Now, the council waited. Debates were happening behind closed doors. Votes were being discussed. Opinions clashed like storm winds. She could feel the weight of those voices pressing against the walls of her quiet room. A soft sound came from the door. It opened with a gentle hiss, and Raylan stepped in. He held a small round dish in his hands. On it were 3 glowing fruits and a piece of bread made from his world's grain. You need to eat, he said. You have not touched anything since morning. Lena smiled a little. It's hard to feel hungry when the whole galaxy is deciding what to do with you. He placed the dish on the table and sat across from her. Not the whole galaxy, just a few who hold power. Same thing, isn't it? She asked quietly. Raylan didn't answer right away. He looked down at the table. Then he spoke in a soft voice. Some council members supported you. They see your action as brave. Others feel insulted. They believe the old law was disrespected. Lena nodded. I expected that. But something strange is happening, he said. What? She asked. They are not shouting. They are thinking. That is rare. Many times, arguments are loud and end quickly. But now, there is silence, a kind of pause. That silence means something new is trying to enter. Lena looked at him. Do you think it will be enough? Raylan met her eyes. I think you already did enough. Now it is their turn to decide if they can grow. She stood up and walked to the window. Below, the lights of Veltrax shimmered like rivers of stars. Ships moved in slow patterns between towers. I didn't plan to fight, she said. I just wanted to represent Earth with peace. You did. Raylan replied. But sometimes peace comes with a strong voice. A silent stand can shake the tallest wall. She turned toward him. Were you always like this? Like what? Gentle, thoughtful, different from the others. He smiled slightly. When I was younger, I also believed rules must never be questioned. But over time, I saw how rules could hurt good people. I met visitors who left our world in shame. I started to listen more. Is that why you became a guide? She asked. No, he said. At first, I only wanted to study other species. But then I saw how lonely visitors felt here. I wanted to be the first voice they heard, the voice that didn't judge them. Lena sat down again. She picked up a fruit and took a bite. It was soft and sweet, like honey mixed with lemon. When I stood on that platform, she said, I felt so exposed. Not because of my body, but because I didn't know how they would react. I thought they might throw me out. I thought they might laugh. They did neither. Raylan said no. They listened, even if they were confused or angry, they listened. Raylan looked at her with calm eyes. You reminded them that rules, without reason, can become cages. There was silence again between them, a warm silence. Not heavy this time. Suddenly, a soft chime echoed through the room. A blue light blinked on the wall. Lena stood quickly. What is it? Raylan pressed the wall panel. A voice spoke clearly. The council has called a meeting. Final vote to be held in 12 hours. Visitor will remain in chamber until called. Lena felt her breath catch. 12 hours. After that, everything could change for her. And for Earth, I thought they might take days, she said. They could have, Raylan answered. But I think your presence has lit a fire under their feet. She sat back down. Her hands were calm, but her heart felt fast again. What do I do until then? She asked. You rest, Raylan said. That's hard. Then you sit with someone who understands, he replied. He stayed. They did not speak for a long while. They just sat, with only the gentle hum of the station around them. Later, Lena stood again. She walked to the middle of the room and looked up. Raylan, she said, I don't know what the council will decide, but I want to thank you. Not for your advice, but for the way you saw me. Not as a rule breaker, not as an outsider, just as me. He rose too. And I thank you for showing my world that honor can wear many shapes. 12 hours still waited ahead, but in that moment, inside a quiet chamber on a faraway planet, something powerful had already begun. Not a law, not a rule, but a silent statement. The sunless sky of Veltrax glowed faintly outside the council chambers, but inside, the atmosphere was tense. Delegates from many worlds filled the great hall, their voices rising in heated discussion. Lena sat quietly in her chamber, waiting for news that seemed slow to come. Raylan stood nearby, his calm presence a steady support. The weight of the council's decision rested heavily on both of them. Lena felt a strange mix of hope and worry, twisting in her chest. Suddenly, a soft chime echoed through her room. The message was brief but clear. Council invites visitor for urgent audience. She stood immediately, smoothing the folds of her simple robe. Raylan followed her without hesitation. Together, they walked through the long corridors toward the chamber of the council. Inside, the hall was alive with energy. Some delegates looked at Lena with respect, others with suspicion. The elder who led the meeting sat at the highest seat, his face calm but serious. Visitor from Earth, the elder began. Your actions have stirred much debate. The council must decide if your voice will be heard or silenced. Lena took a deep breath. She knew this was the moment. The outcome would shape not only her fate, but that of her planet. A group of delegates rose first, their voices strong and firm. This human has disrespected our law, one said. If we allow this, it will weaken our traditions and invite chaos, another delegate added. Rules are the foundation of peace. Without them, suspicion grows. But then, others stood to speak in Lena's defense. A visitor who shows courage to stand for her people is a visitor worth listening to, said one. We must consider the meaning behind the law, not just the form. Another voice spoke. Softly, change is difficult, but sometimes necessary for growth. Raylan listened carefully, his face unreadable. He knew the council was divided. The argument was not about Lena alone, it was about what the council wanted to be. The elder called for silence. The vote will now be held. Each delegate will choose green for acceptance, red for rejection. Lights blinked above each member's head. The room grew quiet as the votes appeared. Red lights glowed fiercely, but green lights shone steadily. 2. When the last vote was cast, the elder spoke again. The council is split. The visitor will remain for further consideration. No decision made today. Murmurs filled the hall. Some delegates frowned, others nodded. Lena felt a mixture of relief and frustration. The fight was not over. After the meeting, Raylan led Lena to a small room adjacent to the hall. You have made a strong impression. he said quietly. Many support you, but old customs hold power. Lena sighed. I do not want to fight. I want to show that we can be different and still be honest. Raylan looked at her with soft eyes. Sometimes change requires patience, and sometimes it requires courage to stand firm. They sat together, the silence between them comfortable. Suddenly, Lena spoke. Do you think Earth will be accepted by the Council one day? Raylan smiled faintly. I believe it will. But it will not be because of laws alone. It will be because of people like you. Lena looked out the small window. Stars sparkled beyond the planet's atmosphere. Thank you, she said softly, for standing with me. You are never alone, he replied. In that quiet moment, Lena felt a new strength rising inside her. She had faced the storm, and the storm had not broken her. The great hall of the Galactic Council was filled with quiet voices. The delegates sat in their seats, waiting for the moment to speak again. Lena sat near the entrance, calm but alert. This was the day the Council would decide Earth's fate and the future of the old law. Raylan stood beside her, his green robe shining softly in the light. He had been by her side from the start, never pushing, always steady. Lena found comfort in his presence. The elder of the council stood, his voice carrying through the chamber. For many cycles, our law has required all visitors to stand fully open before the council. This law was made to show trust and peace. He paused, looking at the gathered delegates. But today, a visitor from Earth has challenged us to see differently. She asks us to honor dignity and respect in new ways. A younger delegate, with bright silver eyes, rose. We cannot change a law that has kept peace for so long. The tradition is our shield. Another delegate, with soft blue skin, stood next. But traditions must grow. To hold on to old ways without question is to close the door to progress. The hall grew quiet. Each delegate thought deeply. The elder raised his hand. We will now vote on whether to keep or change the law. Lights floated above the council seats. Green for change, red for keeping the law. One by one, the votes were cast. Green lights began to glow across the hall. Slowly, red lights appeared too. The room was divided. The elder's face showed no surprise. The vote is close, but by a narrow count, the law will be changed. Whispers filled the room. Lena felt a warm wave rise in her chest. The elder continued. From this day forward, no visitor will be required to remove their dignity to prove their honesty. We will find new ways to build trust, ways that honor all beings. A delegate stood and nodded to Lena. Your courage has opened our eyes. Lena rose and stepped to the center of the hall. Her voice was steady. I thank the council for this choice. It shows that honesty can wear many faces. Earth comes with peace and hope. The delegates clapped softly. Some stood to show respect. Raylan smiled gently. You have changed more than a law today. You have changed hearts. Outside the hall, Lena looked at the stars once more. The Viltraxian sky felt less strange now. It felt like a place where humans and aliens could meet as equals. Raylan joined her. This is only the beginning. Lena nodded. But it is a strong beginning. Together, they walked back into the city. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs to shape. The city of Viltrax was quiet beneath the silver sky. The day's decisions had settled, but their meaning still echoed in every corner. Lena walked slowly through the glowing gardens near the council chambers. The air was soft and warm, carrying scents unlike any she had ever known on Earth. She felt tired, but her heart was light. She had done what no human before her had done. She had stood for her people and changed a law older than many worlds. As she walked, she saw Raylan waiting by a small fountain. His eyes held a calm glow, a quiet kindness that made her smile. Come, he said softly. Let us talk before you leave. They sat beside the water, watching the small waves ripple in the light. You changed more than a law, Raylan began. You changed how we see others. You reminded us that respect is not just about rules. It is about seeing the person beneath. Lena looked at him. You helped me do that. He shook his head. No, you did it yourself. I only saw what you already had the courage to be true. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Lena spoke. Will Earth be ready for this new world? Will we be ready to meet others with respect and trust? Raylan smiled. Every step is a new lesson. But today, you showed the way. She nodded slowly, feeling hope grow inside her. Before she left, Raylan stood and looked directly into her eyes. There is something I want you to remember, he said. In a room full of laws and rules, your gentle courage was the strongest force. It was your gaze that changed a world. Lena smiled, feeling a warmth that no law could give. She knew her journey was only just beginning, but she would carry that moment with her where two very different beings met as equals and changed everything. As the ship lifted from Veltrax, Lena looked down at the planet. Feeling proud and ready, she had come alone, but she was leaving part of herself behind a light for others to follow. And somewhere on that quiet planet, a gentle gaze still remembered her strength.